And welcome everybody to my new channel devoted to Star Wars Unlimited, deck techs, gameplay, news, reviews, sealed gameplay, all that is going to be covered here. I have just been so thrilled with this game for the past couple months, as I know a lot of us have, and especially with the community for this game. I've just been really enjoying all of that, and this is just another way for me to have more fun in that regard. So thanks for being here. If you've been staring at this list already, you're going to see some pretty glaring issues. Let's talk about everything card by card, and then we're going to go into some gameplay footage. I'll show you how it all plays out. Card by card, Ventress. What are we doing with Ventress? Well, I think a lot of us are really looking at her right now because of the Boba suspension. We have a lot of Cunning villainy cards that need new homes. Good cards that deserve to be in decks. We have to find the best spot for them. A lot of us are looking at Ventress. Let's give it a shot. Playing a lot of events, as you can see here. Petronaki Arena, giving her that +1 just to throw across some more damage. This is going to be a very tempo, very aggro-oriented deck. So being able to just throw out one more damage, obviously we can live with the 26 HP. Onto the library card by card, we've got Greedo, kind of a staple in the yellow shell. Definitely got to be careful with Greedo. There's a lot of ping effects, a lot of stuff that can really keep Greedo from being effective. So got to be careful playing him. Hotshot Blaster, although it's not event oriented, just another way we can push across damage. Comes in clutch sometimes. And then our first question mark that a lot of you probably have is Bib Fortuna. A card that I was considering, and it's not great. And I think it's one of the first cards cited out pretty easily. This is the exact deck right here that I took to local game store for weekly play. And so I just kind of went with it, tested it out. Cartel Spacer, pretty easy one there. No Good to Me Dead, great event to play alongside Ventress. Lets you, suppress, and then with Ventress get in some extra damage. Crafty Smuggler, in my opinion, the ideal turn 1. We love him. Sneak Attack is another card I think it's kind of on the fence because it's either extremely situational or it's kind of a win more type deal. But there's some interesting things you can do with it. So, I'll keep it around for now, see how it goes. Surprise Strike breaking in, more damage. Using one of these with Ventress just pops off. So we love it. Boba Fett unit, sort of a staple in yellow-black. He's going to be there, if for nothing else, just the body can sometimes be a real asset. 7th Fleet Defender, great space unit. And then my favorite space unit, Lurking TIE Phantom. This card does absolute work in this deck. You're gonna see a lot of that. And then the other question mark we're going to come up on, now there are 2 of them. Why only 1 copy? I only have 1 copy. I've only opened 1. I think 1 more copy, probably not 2, but 1 more to get that 2 copies. This card is pretty situational. As you can see, we kind of top out in this build at the 5 cost, which I'll have more to say about that later. But can set up some pretty nasty plays, as we've already kind of seen and tested. Getting out, these Underworld units. We've got Underworld tags here for all of our top end, Underworld tags for all of our low end, so can set some interesting plays up. Waylay is just one of those other tempo cards, and Cunning is, the reason we're playing the yellow shell in general. Sideboard, you can't see it. It's behind my webcam. What is that thing? Webcam. Toro and Cad Bane. I think Toro belongs in here somewhere. One of those Boba Yellow staples that just kind of needs to be rehomed. I think it belongs in here probably. Why is it not in there right now? I think I was just trying to find that balance between having enough events and units, and felt like, honestly, I think it came down to 7th Fleet Defender and Toro, creating more of a threat in space. And then Cad Bane at 7. We'll talk a lot about that card at the end of this, where I think this deck needs to go, and Cad Bane is a big part of that. Crazy 7-drop, completely flips the game. That's each card. We're going to go into some gameplay here, and we'll see how it all plays out. Gameplay is recorded at my local game store, which is Fire and Ice. Unsponsored plug for them. Incredible store, incredible people. Fire and Ice in Rockland, California. If you're local in the greater Sacramento area, absolutely have to check them out. Beautiful store and just the best people. Love those guys to death. But anyways, let's get into some gameplay. All right, we are going to jump into a matchup here. We've got double green Emperor Palp against our double yellow Ventress. Shout out to my man John running this over here. As you can see, he's going to start out with the droid deployment, and I think this is a really cool thing a lot of people are interested in, is getting double green Palp going with these token fodder that we can create for him now. So I know he's been exploring this and having fun with it. We're going to come in with Crafty Smuggler here, which is, in my opinion, the ideal turn 1. Gives us a lot of different ways to go with the 3-resource turn. And most importantly, that shield is going to protect him from the Palp ping, which I am most assuredly expecting once he puts down this resource here. Here it comes. There goes the droid. There goes the shield. We get to keep Crafty up, and I'm just going to immediately go in for 2 damage here. And you might have seen it just then in my hand. The reason why just went in with Crafty Smuggler there is because we want to get our main man, our MVP, the Lurking TIE Phantom. Can't be captured, damaged, or defeated by enemy card abilities. So his response to that has to be very specific. An ambush in space, a sentinel in space, timely to give something ambush in space. He's got to take that out with combat, which, it's just a really strong card. It allows us also on resource 4, if we have a Cunning, it's a great target for Cunning because we can buff it for 4 and it's really hard to get rid of. And swings in huge for 8 with Cunning, 9 if we time it up right with Ventress's ability. So John's going to play command right here. Excuse me. And John, I love you, buddy. I do think this was a little bit of a misplay on your part. John's in a position here where he is going to need to slow me down. I'm on the Ventress flip turn. I've got units in both arenas. I'm getting ready to cook up some pretty nasty things over here. He's going to choose to buff Yularen and then resource, put command in as a resource, which I think obviously the resourcing is, for sure the best play for Palp. Ramping to get up to him certainly helps your leverage to actually, win the game. I think probably the better move as the other ability would have been to have Yularen just deal 2 to Crafty Smuggler to slow me down. There's no real need to buff Yularen in this situation. Even if you're setting up for an overwhelming barrage to take out Ventress in the next phase, you can do that just on its own, just by giving Yularen the +2/+2. You don't have to buff him any more than that to take out Ventress. So I'm going to immediately make him pay for that by going in for 5 damage with a surprise strike on Crafty Smuggler. So we're going to go in for 5 right here. He's now at this point going to take out the Crafty Smuggler. Damage has already been done there. And then with Ventress, because we use the Surprise Strike on Crafty Smuggler, we get to exhaust her and push out an extra part of damage with Lurking Tie. So raid 2, 2, and another one, swinging in for 5 with the Lurking Tie. He's going to claim here, which lets us flip Ventress and then play Breaking In. So just a massive, massive swing just in this phase. We've got 5 from the Crafty Smuggler, 5 from Lurking Tie, and then with Breaking In, we're going to get in for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. So 17 damage just in that phase. It's just insane. And that's what we're playing Ventress for. Big swings like that. When you get those surprise strikes or breaking ins to use on Ventress, they just go absolutely insane. So sitting at an 18-0 damage advantage right now. I think our litmus test is doing pretty okay. Even without the Crafty Smuggler play, we would have gotten in that damage somehow. So, negate 2 of that damage because we would have surprise strike the Lurking Tie. So now he sets up the OB. Obviously, you can't touch the Phantom, so Ventress is just going to go away here, which is good for him. Getting Ventress off the board is big time. I'm going to waylay Ularn here to just keep him slow. He's going to be able to pull off his Palp thing, but he can't ping me because of Lurking Tie. I get to chip away here. So now we're sitting at 22 damage to none on my base. Use my last resource to get a Greedo out there. So now we're in both arenas again, putting a ton of pressure on. Going wide, swinging hard. When this deck does this, obviously some pretty timely non-interaction on John's part. And now here comes Vader, old reliable, old faithful, maybe my favorite unit in the whole game. But that's just because I'm a sucker for Vader, I guess. He's obviously going to ambush Greedo, bring out the Phase 3 Dark Trooper with him, which, in my opinion, especially for what John's doing, might be the ideal play. Really put a stand in the ground arena here. The problem is that on the other side, I've got a Lurking Tie that is just putting in work. Bring in the Forlom there to take out the Phase 3. We get to chip away even more with Lurking Tie. Forlom gets to survive, so now I've got lethal in both arenas going into resource 8 8 for him, 7 for me. I've got lethal on the board right now. Obviously a barrage, even a barrage doesn't take care of it. There's very, very little he can do in this situation. He does have one response, which you might be able to see there in his hand right now. The Walker, which he will bring down, immediately discard. Just absolutely has to get that 3 off. So, I'm still in lethal range here. So just have to make sure I sequence this right. Make sure Forlom gets in first before Vader can take him out. Hotshot Blaster was unnecessary, but, what else are we going to do with our resources there? Just go in for a couple more. And John's going to scoop at that point. Resources tapped out. He's got no way to deal with the Lurking Tie. And that's the game. So, like I said, this is a matchup that we already felt like we should be going pretty well into. And, so it passed that litmus test against, a really grindy deck, did what it was supposed to, and just put out the damage, and ran away with that game, definitely. It's not always going to be that easy, as we're going to see. So let's jump into some more action against some different decks here. All right, so next game, once again, my man John, beautiful showcase Quinlan Vos going up against the Ventress. Interesting matchup for us here. Both running that yellow. He's going to start out with a Spark of Rebellion. Gets the discard from my hand. Sees the Zuckuss, sneak attack, doesn't care, goes for the Boba. You know, not a terrible choice to take that out of my hand. I still get to have a turn 1 play. So we throw in Greedo there. Greedo is going to be pretty easy for him to deal with. You know, any 1-drop is going to be able to get Quinlan. You know, if he plays a 2 and a 1 here, Greedo's gone. So, yep, he can exhaust Quinlan on this side. Chooses instead to just open fire. A little bit of overkill on the Greedo, but I respect it. I'm going to sneak attack a 4-lom in here. So this is kind of what I meant with sneak attack, where, you know, and because sneak attack is an event, and it's, you know, multiple actions, I can use Ventress to push across an extra damage of whatever I bring in with sneak attack, which is good. But now we've both got empty boards still, in a situation where, you know, if I had my normal curve, I could have been building up a board state against his, which, as you can see, or as you will see, is going to cost me. He's going to pillage me, taking both the cards out of my hand. So I have no choice but to flip Ventress here. Luckily, I was able to resource a Hotshot Blaster, so I can still push across, you know, a little bit more damage. But it's only going to be 5 and or 6, I guess. Yeah, 6. So I've still pushed across a little bit of damage. He's sitting at 11, I think is what his dice say right now on his base. But you know, now I'm down cards in my hand. If I stay on par with resourcing, I've got 1 card to play each phase. Not looking great for me for sure. So I just have to keep. Oh yeah, now here comes the Quinlan Vos flip, so that every unit he plays is going to have the ping effect for anything that is equal to or lower than its cost. So, you know, he's going to have opportunities to really keep my board down. Surprise Strike Ventress. That's going to get in for a huge chunk of damage. So that is going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 damage swing with Ventress, which puts him to 20. We're doing the math here, crunching numbers, making sure I did it right. So he's going to be at 20 to 0. Now Plo Koon is going to come in and take care of Ventress, which is, so now I've got an empty board. My resource, my cost curve tops out at 5, remember. So we're going into 6 resource. You know, I've got an empty board. He's got his leader out. Really strong ability. And considering that, you know, my low-end curve, the units that I'm going to have to try and flood the board with are all going to be pretty low cost, low health. So he's going to be able to do a lot here. Not quite sure what he's getting up for. Let me skip a little bit here. Oh yeah, I think he had to answer the phone or something. You know, like real life card player stuff. Bringing the 4-lom, not ambushing to just try and put more pressure on him. Here comes the force throw. This is the play that wins John the game here. Drops a force throw. Obviously his leader's force. So he gets to make me discard and then throw the damage onto a unit. Only card in my hand left was the Cunning. So, you know, perfectly, the 4-cost event takes out the 4 HP unit. And now I have an empty board and no hand. And my leader's dead. We are in huge trouble at this point. That swing easily wins him the game. I think, you know, I'm already, in an actual competition, I'm already considering scooping at this point. But we're going to keep playing just to see what happens. Going in here, I mean, I have 2 cards in my hand. I don't think I'm sitting with 5 resources just so that, you know, I have cards in my hand to play. Bring in another Forlom that'll actually ambush and take out Ahsoka and survive, which is still pressure, you know. He definitely still needs to take care of that Forlom. It's also very easy to take care of that Forlom. You just have to play a 4-drop or 4-drop unit or more. So he gets to keep building his board, ping me down. Now I'm at 11. He's got 2 big units in ground and the interceptor in space, which is buffed up because there's 20 damage on his base. At this point in an actual competition, I would have scooped already. There's absolutely no way for me to deal with this. I think I try to put down a Zuckuss here. And Annie comes in with the Wrecker. So he gets to ping Zuckuss for 1 because Wrecker costs more. And then with Wrecker's ability, gets to deal 5 when he defeats a resource. So that's a scoop. I might have gone to phase just to see what card I drew. I don't know why. I'm wasting everybody's time. But yeah, that ends the game. So, you know, the big fear with Ventress is, at least with my build, you know, I ran out of gas. And this is why we talk about cards like Cad Bane. I think adding Cad Bane to the top end, you know, on the 7, you know, if I had that on 7 resources, I mean, I don't know in this game because of the discard. That absolutely crushes me. But it definitely helps if you look out and are able to pull it. I mean, in that situation, let's say I pull out Cad Bane, you know, before he puts down Wrecker, I can at least take the interceptor with me. I think Anakin's 5. If he's 5, I would have been able to capture. But if it's 6, then it would have been 1 too many. So, you know, definitely helps. And Cad Bane is one of those, it's a comeback card. You know, if it's either a comeback or a game ender if you're ahead. So really powerful card, I think. Definitely just needs to make its way in this deck. John and I are going to play one more game with these decks. See if we can maybe drum up a better outcome for us. All right, so game 2 against John, the Quinlan Vos deck.
Thanks, man.
Did I speed this up? I'm gonna make sure I sped this up a little bit. Just a skosh. We'll get to when we start playing cards here. So hopefully, you know, now I've got to find a way in this game to keep board advantage. I'm definitely making sure I have more units in my hand. I do not want to get into a situation where he's just controlling the board with pings. Bib Fortuna, although it's not a fantastic card, it is, you know, at least going to protect me from some pings a little bit. Might be able to cheat out some events. Spark of Rebellion again, turn 1. Just I think he took away my 7th Fleet Defender. So we go into the next phase. I've got a Bib on the board, which, you know, as a unit, not super ideal. Most of the events that I want to play interact with ready units, so I can't cheat him out to use on himself because his ability is a tap ability. So I just go in for 1 here just to kind of stall. He gets to ping the shield away. Just wanted to make sure he didn't nerf whatever I play here, which is a Lurking Tie. You know, any ambush or anything would have been pretty nasty there. Arguably, I should have just played the Lurking Tie first to avoid having it discarded. As we saw in the last game, he's playing Pillage, he's playing Force Throw, so and he's playing Spark of Rebellion, which is he just played 1, but you know, could have kept the second one to just really pin me down in the first 2 turns. So let's see what we can do here. We're in both arenas, which, as I've mentioned, I'm a big fan of being able to play in both arenas and putting pressure on with this deck. I believe John has the initiative here. And by the way, the new R2 unit. Oh, maybe I have initiative. The new R2 unit is incredible. I really want to make Yellow Hero work in a new way. I'm not super big on Yellow Han. I think it's going to be big time for the meta. Anyways, we're gonna surprise strike, get 3 damage in on Bib. And then R2 is going to go 2 into base, I believe. I must have forgotten to count it.
Yeah, 2, raid 2, and then 1. And I'll just take initiative.
Oh, well. Maybe I'll pick it up. Anyways, but get to stay wide with Cartel. Oh, no, sorry. Cartel Spacer. That's what it was. Duh. I used Cartel Spacer and exhausted him. So Cartel Spacer coming in great there. And John, I have the audio turned down, but John's actually stalling. You might be wondering why I didn't flip Ventress. John is soft passing, waiting for me to play Ventress, likely to interact with it. And in that situation, like I'm keeping my board wide. Coming in with a Bosk here, I've got total control of the board now, and I've also got he gets the force throw just to get me to dump my hand. But I'm still sitting in a great spot. I mean, 2 units in each arena. I'm going to have a nice ability from Bosk. Cartel Spacer is going to get in. And I still have not flipped Ventress. So, Quinlan goes into Bib there. And, he's still sitting with 4 resources up. I think I just take initiative here, if I'm not mistaken. I can't quite remember. Open fire the Cartel Spacer, and then he Tarkin Towns Bosk here. So very quickly diminishes my board. But yeah, I still have not flipped Ventress. I probably should have that phase. Maybe not. He still had 4 resources up, so, if he had, any sort of response there. So we're just going to chip away with Lurking Tie. And that just happens, like, in this deck. You just chip away with Lurking Tie. If they have no interaction with it, you're just going to chip away and chip away. And it's also, with initiative, you just kind of get to stall with it. Make them attack and he stalled again. He's waiting for me to flip Ventress. And when he soft passes like that, I'm just going to take initiative because every time you do that, I can just chip away with Lurking Tie. So he's sitting at 20 on his base right now. Stalling, waiting for me to play Ventress. But I'll just keep taking initiative and pinging with Lurking Tie. We've thrown around 8 to 9 damage with that. And at this point we're just doing the math. He was seeing if there's any way he can come back from that. What I was showing him just there was that no matter what he played this turn, looks like he had one of those restore space units in there. I was gonna sneak attack Zuckuss in for game. Game assuming, there's a couple ways I could have, even just by playing sneak attack Zuckuss, I could have tapped Ventress and gone in for the last 5 with Lurking, or did I already attack with Lurking Tie? Either way, no, Lurking Tie was already exhausted, but yeah. If he doesn't have any way to deal with that, it's game. So, that is another thing you can kind of set up for with Ventress is, it's very tempting to just get that removal and be a big swing. But, if your opponent's just going to sit and wait for you to flip Ventress and you've got a wide board, just take the initiative, keep swinging that damage out, and, make them deal with your board first, which, I'm not exactly sure what he had lined up for Ventress there. Maybe an ambush. He wasn't coordinating, so maybe he was just waiting for Plo Koon and then finish it off with Quinlan. I'm not sure. Either way, puts me in a position, especially with our MVP right here. I'm just going to keep taking initiative and keep putting them out. So that was my yellow Ventress deck. I've already kind of touched on the top end needs some help. I think you can build this a little bit more mid-rangey and then sideboard maybe some of these damage events to maybe put together something that is more likely to outlast or survive, I guess, to deliver those couple final blows. But we'll see. I'm definitely curious to see what you guys are doing with Ventress Yellow. So please, any feedback, drop it in the comments. Reach out to me, let me know. And on to the next one. Another deck video coming later this week for Grievous Blue. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.